railway line that goes over to Puerto Manzanillo. This is the one that terminates in Cristobal. This is old Mount Hope right here. Actually, it terminates about here in Mount Hope. It doesn't quite go to Cristobal anymore. Yeah, that's the point where it terminates right there. Arrived in Cologne around 14-15 hours. Lunch at the Hotel Washington. Doesn't appear to have changed in the last 40 years because I was lost there. This is the most crime-ridden town in Panama. They say if you attempt to walk alone in this town, you won't possibly get mugged. You're guaranteed to get mugged. Hotel Washington. view straight across to Puerto Manzanillo. When I left Panama for South America, I departed from there. See, the station used to be right here. Now that was the end of steel. This railway started operations in October 2001. The old Panama Railway went out of business approximately, I would say, 1992 or 1993. It was run by the U.S. government until 1978. They handed it over to Panama, and it deteriorated to the point where I understand by 1992 they would only run at 10 miles per hour. It took hours and hours to cross the isthmus. A consortium of the Kansas City Southern Railway Company from the United States got the permission to rebuild and run the railway. First thing they did was scoop up all the 5-foot gauge track, laid standard 4-foot 8.5-inch gauge track, and brought down all brand new equipment, or mostly new equipment. Restarted operations again in October 2001. All of this right here was the old Mount Hope Yards, the roundhouse. There's what's left of the roundhouse right there. As far as freight's concerned, all they handle now is containers off of ships. They take ships' containers across the isthmus, which, as far as shipping companies that don't want to pay the fare to go through the canal, that's a good thing. They can load all their containers on one end and they can be reloaded on another ship on the other end at a great savings. Right now, I think the average cost of ships through the canal is about $100,000. Here's a new branch that didn't exist before. This goes over to the container port of Manzanillo, the brand new Manzanillo container port, which was just opened in the last few years. In fact, when I leave Panama, that's where I'm going to sail from when I head out for Chile. government property. It was the year 2000 that all of this was handed over to the government of Panama, the canal and everything. I think 31 December 1999 to be exact. Somewhere around here is where they rerouted the railway. It used to make a, going in my direction, it made a sharp right turn and went down past Gatun Locks. Now it cuts straight across, avoids Gatun Locks altogether. But I think at one time there was an old alignment along here, back before the canal construction days. I believe this is the route the railway actually took. The Atlantic side is a lot greener, even in the dry season, than the Pacific side. They reckon that the Atlantic side gets 160 inches of rain per year, where the Pacific side gets 60 inches per year. And this is the dry season, where it's almost all brown over on the other side, but you don't see too much brown over here. Power lines have always taken this shortcut here. When the railway was relayed back during the canal construction days, when they put the power line across, the power line was put mostly over the railway, except for this bit here. Now we're back with the original railway alignment. This is the causeway going over Lake Gatun. When I first arrived in Panama in 1964, this was full of trees. Now there are very few trees sticking up out of the water. And flooded all the low-lying territory in order to form the main part of the canal. All lush jungle before the canal construction days. Ship channel way over there. The only break in the causeway. Looks like a drawbridge. It's not drawn anymore. This is Frijoles. I don't know if they call this Frijoles anymore or not. It used to be the siding around here was Frijoles. It might have another name now. Actually, that's not even a siding. I think that is old Frijoles, but that's not a real passing siding. As you can see, it's only a spur. But I was told that they're going to eventually make that into a passing siding when traffic picks up. We departed Mount Hope there at Cologne at 17:16 hours, which was 1 minute late. We arrived at the new Panama station, which is now at a place at Corozal, at 18:12. Only 56 minutes. The old running times was about an hour and 25 minutes. During the U.S. Ownership of the railway, the Panamanians tried to maintain that until the thing deteriorated to the point they could only run 10 miles per hour. I've got a timetable from 1989, in the Cook's timetable that is, which they still show running time of an hour 25 minutes. Now we're right alongside the Canal channel. As we approach Gamboa, we find an actual passing siding. As far as I remember, this is the only one they've got currently. And they've got a spur over there for keeping maintenance equipment. It's like ballast hoppers. Gamboa dredging division of the Panama Canal. In 1914, that crane you see sticking up over there, I think was one of the largest in the world. Big old steam crane operated by the Panama Canal dredging division. Wait a minute, that's not the original. That looks like a new one. That is even bigger than the original one. I think that other one over there we could see was the one built in 1914. Must be, yeah, that one right there. The old Gamboa station used to be right about here. As you can see, as we approach the Pacific side, it looks a lot browner, not nearly so green. Amazing that in 50 miles it can be that much of a change in rainfall. This was the upper light of a range, or leading lights, but no longer. It's painted black all the way around. Chagres River, this was the river where, further upriver there, they built the Madden Dam to dam up the whole operation to form the canal. Looking down the Gaillard Cut, right near the Continental Divide. From here we drop down rather steeply towards the Pedro Miguel locks. There's the big highway, the new bridge crossing the Panama Canal over the Gaillard Cut. That's not open yet. Over there is called Paraíso. That was where they housed canal workers, usually the Jamaicans. the English-speaking Jamaicans, which came, well, first to help build the railway in the 1850s, and then for the canal construction. They've never left. Now we're approaching Pedro Miguel Locks. A few weeks later, I was on the bridge of a ship taking a picture of the same train as we were transiting the lock. That's Lago de Miraflores Lake. That separates Pedro Miguel Locks from Miraflores Locks. Then we go into the tunnel right at Miraflores Locks, and then on the other end, road crossing the road that goes into Miraflores Locks, and also you pass Fort Clayton, where I was stationed for nearly 3 years. First big long range coming in from the Pacific Ocean, taking you towards Miraflores. That'll be your top light. The bottom light is at the south end of the locks. There's the row of barracks I used to live in. The furthest two away I've lived in at one time or another. There's the main gate for Fort Clayton. Administration building and PX and everything's over here. Post headquarters and so forth. Parade grounds behind all that. Then you got NCO and officers' quarters down this way. For, you know, the married ones that have misses and kids and things like that. Another view over towards the Miraflores Locks and the original bridge that went across the Panama Canal. The drawbridge right over Miraflores Locks there. That's before they built Puente de las Americas in 1960, which is a high bridge by the Pacific Ocean. Coming into Corazon. The evening container train is all set up, waiting for us. So as soon as we clear, they'll make their journey across. Pulling into the clear, and they'll highball. That is not an Amtrak train. More of a Kansas City Southern train. A few old pictures hanging up in here, back in the 5-foot gauge days. Panama City, pulling out of the old passenger station that still exists. I don't know when steam disappeared, probably still exists right on Central